So I will say that cheap phones have come a really long way even compared to 2 years ago. Remember back in 2018 when you had, cheap $100 phones that came with really crappy processors? Well, now you have the UMiDiGI A9 Pro. This is a $120 phone with a Helio P60 processor and an infrared thermometer in order to find out whatever temperature, whatever thing you want to measure is. But is this an instant buy? Well, keep watching to find out. Alright, I'm going to keep this review short so I can talk about the reasons why you should and shouldn't buy this phone. Okay, first we'll start with build quality. It's good. The phone has a metal frame, as you can see, and glass back. I will say it's going to get dirty really easily. You can already see fingerprints on this. Downsides here are the big-ish bezels. Here, give me a second. I'm just going to turn the phone on. The bezels are big-ish. I mean, they're okay. And also, this phone is actually a little bit heavy as well. All right, the display here is good. It has good pixel density. The LCD has, nice, vibrant color. Actually, the LCD looks pretty good, even beside my Huawei with an OLED. Max brightness here is 450 nits and a 60 hertz display. All right, audio quality here is pretty average, about the same as most MediaTek phones in this price range. Let's turn it up a little bit.
This is the best gift idea I've ever had. So there's this picture that's hung in my parents' house for the last 30 years. It's my dad, my mom, me, my brother, my cousins, and my uncles. And my dad hates this picture so much because for no discernible reason, the photographer made only my dad tilt his head.
All right, battery life here is about what I expected. It's about 5 hours of screen on time. Even though it has a 4150 milliamp hour battery, the Helio P60 isn't exactly the most power efficient, so it definitely is not 2-day battery life as UMiDiGI is claiming. All right, the software here is very plain. You basically get, Android 10, and it's basically stock Android with really nothing else added. The only 2 apps that are added is going to be Zello, which is kind of like a walkie-talkie app. I don't really use it that much. And of course, Thermometer, which I'll talk about later. Well, so the phone itself runs fairly well. It is a tiny bit laggy. As you can see, sometimes when I'm swiping between the Google Now and the homepage, you can see it's a little bit, not super smooth, but apart from that, most of it is good. Launching apps is very fast though, so there's absolutely no question about that. If you're launching apps, you really don't have to worry about them being really slow. They launch really fast. All right, in terms of gaming, this thing doesn't have a 60 hertz display. It's just 90 hertz display. It's just 60 hertz, so it's not a super intense phone to run games on. But the thing is, even though it's only 60 hertz, it's still a little bit laggy if you're playing, games like Injustice 2, as you see I'm doing right now. It is a little bit laggy, you can feel it. But if you're playing a game like, Asphalt Extreme, where it's really well optimized, then the game runs completely smoothly, and I have absolutely no complaints there. Okay, the fingerprint sensor is the one place that I actually have, a big complaint about. Even though it's not an in-screen fingerprint sensor, it's, like one on the back of the phone. It's supposed to be good, it's supposed to be fast, but it's not. First of all, as you can see, it's really slow. I'm gonna do this. Bang. Oh, I'll try again. Bang. That was like, 2/3 of a second. That's pretty slow. And the other thing is that if my finger is too dry, if my finger is too wet, it doesn't recognize it at all, which is annoying and fairly often because my finger sweats or my finger gets dry because I'm outside. So the fingerprint sensor here is really not that good. Okay, talking about the thermometer, you need to be at least 3 centimeters away from the thing in order to measure it. For example, like this, I'm going to measure my desk, it's 20.7 Celsius, and measure myself, I'm going to be, give me a sec, 35, I just measured my hand, 35.5 Celsius. However, I will say that if you've been gaming and you measure something, it's going to be significantly higher because the heat from the phone actually interferes with the infrared sensor. So the camera is typical for a phone in this price range, okay photos in good light, bad photos in like slightly not so good light, and obviously low light, it's really bad. And it only shoots about 1080p video, so the actual quality of the video is not that great. So really only not good things to say about the camera here. Finally, let's talk about the network bands. This is one of the reasons to buy this phone. I'll link the link down below. It has 33 network bands, which means it works in North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Oceania, Africa, etc. Probably not in Antarctica, though check the link down below for the full network listing. Okay, so I've given you a quick overview of the phone. So now here is why you should buy and why you should not buy this phone. I'll start with why you shouldn't buy this. This is a direct competitor to the Redmi 9C and the Poco M3. If you compare this to the Redmi 9C, don't get the Redmi obviously, because it's basically a Helio P35 with a 720p screen and it's the same price. Not worth it. But compare this to the Poco M3. Even though it's like 10-15 bucks more expensive, it's better in basically every way. So like, you should buy the Poco instead of this if you don't care about the thermometer and the phone works in your network on your country and you're willing to spend about 10-15 bucks more. Get the Poco instead of this. This is why you should get the UMiDiGI A9 Pro. If you actually need the thermometer on this phone, then yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to get this phone. But that, personally, I think that's a pretty weak reason. The strongest argument for getting this phone is actually the network bands. This phone basically works, worldwide in every continent and almost all countries with, 33 LTE bands to cover you. Check the link down below to see if it works in your country. I have a feeling it will, as long as you're not living in like Antarctica or like, a small tribe in the forest or something like that. If you do live in a tribe in the forest and this works, let me know as well. With that being said, if you do buy this phone because, it works everywhere and probably in your country, do note that you will have to live with the camera, the fingerprint sensor, the slight stutters here and there, and yeah, I mean, you do get a thermometer, so that's nice. Anyway, that's all I had for you today, and thank you so much for watching.